and also the example that we can set for the generation of the future, the way we feel and ultimately the way we live.
We are very excited to have this session today talking about fitness secrets to peak performance of successful leaders together with Christian Williams.
We need to see our goals. So we need to really be desirous. We need to be vision. See it like we've already been achieved. And it's conversations like this that allows me to express myself and to listen and to also obtain more knowledge so we can share that with whoever's willing to listen, whoever's like us. How are you able to do the things you do? How are you able to achieve so much in your day, in your week, in your life?
Yes, we are live. Here we are. Welcome, everybody. As we announced a couple of days ago, we are very excited to have this session today talking about fitness secrets to peak performance of successful leaders together with Christian Williams. So, to kick this off, first of all, who don't know me yet, my name is Szilvia Vitos. I'm a leadership well-being coach and consultant, helping predominantly corporate senior leaders live a happier and healthier life in a holistic approach, talking about mindset, physical health, and emotional well-being as well. And today I'm sitting down with Christian, who is not just a very good friend of mine, also my personal trainer. However, I don't even like to call him personal trainer because Christian, you are just so much more than that. I usually say that you are a walking, talking encyclopedia. Your incredible experience in fitness is something I have never really seen and experienced with other athletes and trainers I have been working with before. You have a very serious track record as an athlete, amazing achievements, and I probably just hand it over to you to tell a couple of words about yourself, and then we can dive into our conversation today.
Yes, thank you so much. Likewise, as I mentioned a few days ago when we did the announcement live, that I've been also looking forward to this live event. We have many conversations back to back. Once we in between sets, talking about philosophy, talking about mindset, talking about our experiences, what we learn and what we're discovering with ourselves and with our clients. And just to give you a bit of a background, obviously for our listeners, you probably more than know a lot of the stories I might tell today, but hopefully our conversation can stem new insights between each other. So I've always been fascinated about human performance of the mind, the body, and how we can peak perform. And throughout my life, I've seen some really tremendous achievements and goals that I've set manifested. And it's all ultimately come from my ability to really focus in and to be crystal clear about my objective and to create almost like a tunnel vision. So when I was 15 years old, I wanted to achieve a particular look. I focused in and I achieved what most people would take a lifetime to achieve. I achieved in just 6 months. I transformed the way I look, and that taught me two very valuable lessons. One of them, that when we put our focus and our mindset into one specific goal, we can fast track the results. And not only that, because the goal that I was working towards was a transformation of the body, it propelled me into many different directions, which were all successful. I became a leader, more people were actually seeking me to help them. And I saw a very positive outcome from just wanting to achieve this simple goal of transforming the way I looked. And since then, I've been on this trajectory to not only transform the look, but also the way we think, the way we feel, and ultimately the way we live. and also the example that we can set for the generation of the future. That's where my passion lies. That's where I spend most of my time studying on a daily basis, whether that's reading a book, reading an article, or listening to a podcast or an audio. And it's conversations like this that allows me to express myself and to listen and to also obtain more knowledge so we can share that with whoever's willing to listen, whoever's like us, wanting to succeed. So that's a little breakdown of me. Obviously, you know my story. I've been Mr. Wales, Mr. London, Mr. England. I come fifth in the World Championships in bodybuilding. I've been awarded UAE's Personal Trainer of the Year. You know, I wrote a book, Start a Fire, so I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm an entrepreneur. And when somebody is on the outside looking into my lifestyle, you know, this morning I was up at 4 a.m. and I did 130-kilometer cycle. I'm on this podcast. I've got back-to-back meetings. I'm on another podcast later. They seem to question, how are you able to do the things you do? How are you able to achieve so much in your day, in your week, in your life? And again, it goes back to when I was 15 years old. It's realizing what we can achieve when we put our focus into that specific area, how we can peak perform and how we can achieve success. And that is hopefully what we can discuss and give our viewers some insights on today.
Absolutely. That was a wonderful summary, even just scratching the surface of your background. And before we go further and deeper, I just would like to have a word to the audience, whether you are joining us through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through our YouTube channels. We are streaming all across the platforms. Please feel free to drop your questions in the comment or share your experiences. We would love to hear from you because we are doing this for you, first of all, and to help you implement certain practices from your side. So please share your comments and experiences, and we will definitely come back to those and provide you answers. So Christian, coming back to you, and you just listed up so many achievements as an athlete. I really would love to hear from you. What do you believe were the key elements and practices as well that led to these outstanding achievements? Because we so often hear and we know it for a fact that there are parallels can be drawn between physical achievement or more of the mental achievement that the, let's say, corporate leaders require to go to the next level. So what were those key habits, routine elements that you believe led to these incredible successes for you?
Yeah, obviously I've had some time to think about this over the years, because not only have I been able to set goals and achieve goals from a young age, but like I mentioned, a lot of people actually came to me for advice, and now it's my profession. I help many clients all over the world transform themselves, and I get paid well for what I do. People trust my services and they trust my insights. So why I'm saying this is because I've had to formulate a methodology in order to teach it, which has taken a lot of insight into myself. And to go back to the day when I first decided to set the goal, you know, what was it about that day that allowed me to set that goal and achieve that goal? And what I kind of bottled this up into, and I try to keep things very simple, because I think there's a lot of not only misleading content out there, but it's very confusing. And I've listened to a couple of podcasts more recently, and I've ended up turning off after a few minutes because it just overwhelms the listener, really. So I like to bottle it up into, you know, 4Ds, I call them, and that is the desire, first of all. So we need to really be desirous. We need to be vision. We need to see our goals. We need to see it like we've already been achieved. That's the first thing, is the desire. The second thing is we need to have the drive. We need to drive. We need to be willing to do what it's going to take in order to see that vision manifest. And then we need the determination, and that is, okay, now I'm going to determine to keep moving forward always. And we need to combine that determination with discipline. And I do honestly believe it's the discipline that holds it all together like glue. We have the desire, we have the determination, we have the drive, and we have the discipline. Discipline for me is a kind of prime mover in my life. And it's something that I practice every single day. Somebody will look at my lifestyle and see that I'm disciplined just from the outside, but they don't see the intricate disciplines that I apply. What they see is that I follow the same nutritional protocol, that I train multiple times a week, that I push myself very hard. This requires no discipline at all. This is habitual. This is things I just do. The discipline is doing the things necessary that you have to do, even if you don't want to. And that is where I'm honestly constantly looking for opportunities in my day where I require discipline. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that today I got up at 4 a.m. That doesn't require any discipline. But let's say that I only had a 4-hour workout. And I thought, you know what, push it for another 30 minutes. Why? Because I don't want to push it another 30 minutes. And that action right there of doing something I don't want to do is strengthening my acts. So I believe that for most of us, we need to be desirous. We need to have that desire. We need that determination and drive. But we need to make discipline the glue in our life. And we need to look for opportunities on a daily basis, whether that's going to bed earlier, whether reading a book that you don't necessarily want to, whether it's controlling and biting your tongue when you probably could say the things that you need to say. This is what's led to a lot of success so far in my life, and it's doing the same every day. And once you start applying this to your lifestyle and you realize the benefits of leaning into the things that you don't necessarily want to do but know you have to do them, they become habitual, and then you lean into more. So there was a study done, I just want to kind of wrap it up, and I know we talked about this, where they had a group of children, and they found that the children that they rewarded for their outcome. So if they had 10 children, which they were rewarded for the outcome, if they kicked the ball in the net, they would say, great job, you're a great football player. If they threw a dart at a dartboard, they would say, you're an amazing shot, you have a good throw. And then they have another case of 10 children. And these 10 children, they actually are rewarded for their efforts. So if they kicked the ball in the net or they missed the net, they would say, great work, you have amazing effort. I love the way you kept kicking the ball even though you didn't go in. And the children, obviously, that were rewarded for their outcome chose more roles in life that they knew they were really good at, so they became comfortable. And the children that actually were rewarded for their effort chose more challenging roles. And the point is that life, especially when you want to start achieving what you would consider success, if we look in at other people also, it's often enough going to be doing the things you don't want to do. So you have to associate the outcome based on your efforts. And that's been another attribute that I've really, found successful, is rather than me do a competition and think, okay, the win is going to determine how I feel, I reward myself even before I even attempt with my effort. As in, when I'm going into this event, whether it's a race or bodybuilding competition or a presentation or this audio right now, I'm not going to associate the outcome by how many people view, how many people comment, by what place I get, what number I rank. I'm going to associate the outcome by my willingness to do the best I can do. And if I do the best I can do, then I reward myself positively, because there's nothing more I can do. And that association with effort is tremendously rewarding, and that is what is going to keep me leaning into things, as I mentioned, the difficult things in life, because the difficult ones were now easy. And that's going to keep me progressing and finding new levels of success and new heights. So I hope that kind of summarized it, and I hope you got a bit of an insight from that.
Yeah, it's so many important nuggets, and thank you for sharing this super interesting study as well, because there is a huge learning to pull from that also. And based on my own experience and what I see with my clients too, because I myself spent 15 years in the corporate world, I made it up to executive management level, and so I have I understand the dynamic. I lived it long enough, and I see the same with my clients oftentimes, that people, first of all, even if they have the goals, they forget to focus on the process. They forget to enjoy or make the process itself enjoyable and rewarding. That's one crucial element which you were pointing out with the discipline. And moreover, what I also see, that oftentimes people not necessarily taking the ownership for their own destiny, and just leaving it to the external environment, that hoping that something maybe will happen. I hope that I will get the next promotion, or I hope that one day I will get there. But then my question is, how are you taking ownership for which direction are you going, and for your performance, and for your way forward? Because you actually do have the power to take back the control, and do not just rely on the organization, on your environment, or any other external factor to maybe or maybe not make this happen for you, whether it's about professional or personal growth. So these are very interesting elements. And again, looking at it from the leader's perspective, the stress factor is quite tremendous. And I'm sure, Chris, you see that also with your clients. I know you have several clients who are CEOs, busy professionals, being in really high responsibility roles, that stress is something that is a major enemy and holding people back from achieving that high performance. And I think this is also why it's so incredibly important that people develop tools to, first of all, an understanding what stress does in their body and mind, why it is such a big enemy, and then develop a toolkit which they can always go back to, and quickly overcome those stress responses whenever they require. Because knowing that 95% of the time we are run on the subconscious programming, on full automation, whether we like it or not, we are walking, talking computers, basically. And we really need that 5% of conscious awareness, which is incredibly important on the discipline part. Because how do you become aware when you don't feel like it, when you don't feel like doing it or making the next step, to still get yourself there and remind yourself on the big why, so that you can still propel forward, and then be proud of how you are taking those small, seemingly meaningless yet incredibly important steps towards your goal. So what's your experience, Chris, with through your clients as well, who are in these high responsibility roles? How are they really handling this stress factor, and to which extent are they able and willing to explore the idea and overcome the challenges that come with it, in order to amplify the highest performance and be able to achieve the highest performance state of being?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question, and thanks for your insight with your background. Like, I'm familiar, and also, you touch on also some nuggets to take away, not only for the viewers but for me also. And what is a commonality, I guess, between your clients and my clients is, as much as they are very high executive level corporate clients, not all, but some, or they athletes, that have a lot of demand and pressure, but they also believe in coaching, because they wouldn't be clients if they didn't. So, they are not the majority, they are the minority, and the majority, even these clients, they are overwhelmed with a lot of stress. But obviously, through our practices, through our personal sessions, through our meetings, we're able to help. So one thing that the viewers need to be aware of, one thing I certainly learned, is, the endocrine system has a fight or flight mechanism, right? A sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. And these nervous systems are ingrained in ourselves to either encourage us to fight or to run, that's the sympathetic nervous system, or to rest and recover. So when we look at top athletes would be training in this sympathetic nervous system for a short period of time. And then the majority of time they would be in the parasympathetic nervous system to rest, to digest, to recover. Now, the problem we have, especially with a lot of busy professionals and high performing clients, and especially with people living in Dubai, because, Dubai has its own concussion of, stresses, whether it's the cost of living, whether it's the high pressured lifestyle and fast paced, but they're running in this sympathetic state for way too long. Stress, first of all, is a great stimuli. It's what we need. When we go to the gym, we actually stress in the body and the body adapts. It's where that stress becomes overwhelming and then it becomes chronic. And that's what's going to cause a lot of diseases in the body, because it's going to create a lot of toxicity, increase blood pressure, and potentially lead to some really serious health concerns. So what we need to do is we need to recognize these triggers, and we need to work with some tactics and tools to keep us into a parasympathetic nervous system. Now, it's not easy to tell somebody when they're in this stressed state, because they don't see it. They're in the alert and the energetic and the run or the fight or flight. So it's whatever you tell them, they're not even listening because the adrenaline's going. But if they're listening to this, and obviously they have some time to reflect, what we need to be doing throughout the day is looking at opportunities where we can bring our heart rate down and we can fall back into that state. It's all about intent. Okay, now what I realize, because I've asked myself these questions many times, what is the difference between pain and suffering? And it's literally a mindset, because you can endure pain and it can create pleasure, or you can endure pain and it can create suffering. The difference is this. There was a study done where they had two mice. One mouse was put into a mouse wheel and it run. And it ran a free will, right? So every time it wanted to run, it ran, and every time it wanted to stop, it stopped. And after a few months, they tested the mouse, and the mouse had lost body fat, gained muscle, all the hormones were stable, it was very positive, dopamine, it was really in good health. Then they put the second mouse in the wheel, and every time the first wheel turned, the second mouse was forced to run. So although they were doing the same amount of exercise, the second mouse, because he wasn't doing it willingly, it was in a suffer. Okay, they were enduring the same amount of physical demand on the body, but the one was doing it at will and the other one was doing it at force. And it created a completely different outcome. The cortisol levels are high from the stress, the mouse had lost muscle. So the point is, it's all about the state of mind. Okay, now if you're going into a busy environment and you're stressed and you're doing a job that you hate, you really have to focus on, okay, what can you extract from this job that you love? So I'll give you a prime example. If I'm working in a corporate setup and I don't like the people that I work with, and my objective is to improve the way people think or see the world, maybe I can use this as an opportunity to lean into the people around me and to serve my purpose that I find within. It's looking for nuggets in having that intent. But going back to the original question, for me, it's a daily practice. You wake up, you set your gratitude, you set your awareness, you bring yourself back to, if you open your eyes in the morning, it's genuinely a gift. And you are gifted to be here. That's the first thing you need to experience. Then the second thing is you need to do something that is about you, whether that's going for a walk, whether that's just reading a book, doing some meditation. You need to listen to the birds, you need to see the sunrise, you need to experience the wonders of the world. And then the same throughout your day, you need to have the intent to try to stay in this grounded position. It's not easy, but it can be achieved, and it has to be achieved. It's necessary, because if we have somebody running at an high altitude all day in this stress state, well, first of all, that's like this. That's like taking an athlete that is expected to win a gold medal and is training for 2-3 hours a day at the peak performance, and for the rest of the day is sleeping, and expecting an athlete now to perform at that same level for 12 hours, what's going to happen? Progression is going to reduce. So if you are listening to this and you are wanting to perform, whether that's in your career or in the gym or on the track or in your relationships, if you stay in this high performing stress state of mind, then your productivity and your progression is going to reduce. So that is what I'm saying. You have to set the intent. Do you want to perform more? Are you at the stage in your life where you're running out of time and you're like, there's no more I can do, but what I'm doing is not actually giving me what I want? Well, maybe you need to look at things from a different perspective. You need to do less. You need to bring yourself down into this parasympathetic nervous system. So then when you do apply yourself, you can apply yourself fully, whether that's in the gym, on the track, or in the boardroom. So as I mentioned, it starts with the intent. It's always being grateful for the things you have. And then it's doing little hacks like mindfulness. Breathing is a really simple tool that somebody can apply just within a few seconds, will really just change their state. Meditation, reading books like you do with these retreats, fantastic for bringing yourself into this state of oneness, right? So now when you come on here and we come together, we can hyper perform, we can give our best, you know? So I hope that kind of summarized some. And then obviously I'd like to hear from, what are some of the tools that you would suggest, people at this type of level, because obviously you work with them, and how do you strip it back? How do you take somebody from that adrenaline driven psychology, let's say, and physiology, and help them see things for what they are, and then help them perform better?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for sharing all these invaluable insights. Very, very important tools, practices that you have been just telling us about, and the way how I guide my clients basically is to help them put the meaning behind the what, so that when they understand the meaning of what they are doing, that it's not just about, yeah, I know stress management is important, yeah, I know I should be doing something, but do you know why? Do you know what it really does in your body? And as you pointed out with the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and parasympathetic, what I would like to add to that is, because that's a very key element, that whether you are in fight, flight, or freeze mode, or whether you are in rest and digest mode, the other one will be switched off. Means they cannot both be functioning at the same time. When you are stressed, then your entire body, all your energy is focusing on that one threat, whatever it is, whether it's your boss, it's your whoever made you angry. I don't know what situation is happening that's stressing you out, but you are giving your power away to that external something or someone, and your body and physical being is 100% focusing on that threat, because your body wants to survive. And in that case, your rest and digest system is just completely down regulated, meaning your immune system is not functioning properly. Reason why you fall sick quite often, or more often and more likely, when you are continuously stressed out. Your digestive system is down regulated, meaning you will have digestive problems developed quite soon if you keep living life being stressed out 24/7. Your overall base functioning of your body is down regulated. So this is the main reason why you truly have to be proactive and prompt about regulating the stress response, and catch yourself and get yourself back down into homeostasis as fast as possible. So to do that, you first of all, you can only think about it when you are not stressed out, okay? Because when you are stressed out, even your the door in your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, is shut down. This is why you cannot really think clearly. It's not the time to be creative. It's not the time to sit down and read a book or learn something, because you cannot really soak in information. So your decision making will be suffering. Your problem solving skills will be suffering. Everything is basically just a big mess. So I always suggest and invite my clients to, whenever they are in a peaceful time, then create that stress management toolkit which serves them. And that might be something different for everyone. So you observe yourself and you notice what works for you. You mentioned breathing. That's a number one tool what I also like to recommend. And the reason is because when we are stressed out, our breathing automatically will be very shallow and fast, right? So when we are facing a threat, then we will just breathe like, oh my God, I need to survive. I'm scared, I'm stressed. So when you take conscious control over it and you start breathing into your belly down deep and slow, then it immediately sends the sign to your brain, the signal to your brain that you are in control. I'm not dying. There is no threat. Cool down. And it will, within seconds, bring your body down and lower your blood pressure and give you some white space to think again. How you do the breath, I like to refer to the square breathing because it's always easy. You will always have either a window or a door, most likely around you. And then you just take the fourth side of it and remember a slow count of 4 for the inhale, hold, exhale, and hold again. So it goes like that. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. And you can do it in the middle of a meeting. Nobody is going to notice. Even you can put one of your hand on your belly so you feel that your inhale is really going down deep. And just repeat it 3, 4, 5 times. Takes you a minute, maybe, or two, and you will see that it just gives you space to think again very, very fast. Apart from that, you can refer back to a scent, for example, be it lavender or something that reminds you on something that you really love, be it the perfume of your spouse or anything. You just keep that scent somewhere with you or close to you, because the scent smelling is actually that gives the fastest signal to the brain and the reference that you will be triggered to. Think about when you pass by Cinnabon. No commercial here, but when you smell this cinnamon, and then you just immediately want to grab one because the smell sends the signal of your brain, oh my God, I just want this. So these are a couple of elements. There are many, many more. Mindfulness, creating that morning routine, staying grounded. There are hundreds of tools. It's just important to identify those handful that works for you as your individual, unique being who you are, and use them. Because again, if you leave it up to chance, then your programming will take over. The 95% versus 5% ratio is truly not a joke. And we, again, like to believe we are super in control and in aware of everything, what we do, how we act, how we behave. We are not. And reflecting consciously about what is going on and taking corrective actions will be the key first and most important step towards any kind of change you may want to achieve in your life. So
amazing. I just want to jump on there here. So you
please.
touched about what you're talking about right there is the congruency, right? So for those who don't know this, is there's a congruency between the heart, the mind, and the stomach or the gut. They call it the second brain, right? So if you watch a movie, for example, that movie is gruesome, you feel your stomach sick. You know, if you see someone's arms get flown off, you feel in your stomach. If you watch Formula One, your heart is going to start racing. So this congruency between the brain, the heart, and the stomach. So what Szilvia is saying, if you can control your breath and your belly, that's what's going to put you into that state, right? Now, I want to mention this is very important because, as Szilvia pointed out, when you're in the sympathetic nervous system, you're in a stressed state. So all the blood is objectively going to go to the muscle to perform, to run away or to fight. So the digestive enzymes are going to shut down, right? So there's not going to be much blood in the stomach. And I've witnessed this literally, when I've been on the bike powering myself, and my heart rate's up to like 185. If I consume a gel in that moment, that my stomach is just cramping because it just can't digest it. Now I can consume a gel when I'm at the, maybe like a 150 heartbeat. And that's because of that reason. Now, I'm saying this because a lot of people, the issue they have is they don't recognize these different stimuli. So they'll be, for example, in work, eating at the desk, or they'll be on a meeting, eating, or they'll be watching the news, eating. And they're watching things that are going to put them in this stress state, the sympathetic nervous system, and the stomach muscles are going to shut down, and the digestive enzymes are not going to be secreted, and the food is not going to be digested. So if you want to peak perform, one thing we haven't really touched on right now, it's all about nourishing the body. And that's not just about what goes in your mouth, it's what goes in your mind, what goes in your ears. Food is not just what we eat through our mouth, it's what we consume. So first of all, it's being aware, like I said. Now, what I do is I have and it's not because it's a rule, it's because it's a practice. It's something that I know helps me. This is my home office. I do not work outside these four walls in my house. I do not sit on the dining room table and work on the laptop. I do not sit on my bed on the laptop. Okay, downstairs, my dining room table, I eat on my dining room table. When I sit down on my sofa, I watch TV on my sofa. When I go to bed, I sleep. I don't go on my phone or my laptop or eat in bed. Now, Szilvia mentioned this about fragrances, right? You can get an environmental association. So as Szilvia pointed out, 95% of our action is triggered or controlled by our subconscious mind. So what we need to do is create environmental association as well. So for example, when I enter this room, I'm coming to work. So if my adrenaline goes and I'm in that state of, that's okay, because I need to perform. I need to come here and deliver. I don't want to be in a Zen state meditation right now. Vice versa, when I go to bed and I walk through my bedroom door, my subconscious is aware that this domain is where I calm myself and I relax. So the point is, you need to create these boundaries within your lifestyle, and if you're waking up and the first thing you're doing is you're working and the last thing you're doing is you're working, or you're overthinking about one thing, or you're eating while on the meeting, again, you're in this state. Okay, one thing I don't want to confuse anybody listening to this is, we are not saying that the sympathetic nervous system is bad. It's not. In fact, what we are talking about is allowing ourselves to get into this parasympathetic nervous system so we can perform even better. Because when we call upon that adrenaline and that glucose and that focus, we can really go in. And that's the point. Go back to the analogy of the athlete just training 2 hours a day and now training 12. They train in 2 hours a day more effectively than 12. So that's what we're talking about here. We're not walking around like Buddha all day long in this kind of like Zen state. We're looking like, okay, how can we perform at our best when we need it the most? And like I said, it's learning these hacks. The majority of the time, we need to be calm. We need to be in a state. And I'll give you one quick reference point. There was a time when I would drive up to the gym and I would listen to music that would rile my aggression 30 minutes before. I would get to the gym, I'd walk in and I'd be like, I'm coming to war for war. I'd be in this like battlefield mentality from 30 minutes before the workout, in between sets of the workout, all the way into my workout until the end. Now, not only did I recognize that by me actually staying in a more parasympathetic state, right the way up to the gym, from me getting into that parasympathetic state in between my sets, not staying within that stressed and fired up, no, doing a set, focusing on my breath, focusing on lowering my heart, recovering as fast as we can, because that's the idea. Look, if I push myself in a 12 repetition or in a 30-second output, for me to be able to maintain that same level of peak, between that peak, I need to recover as fast as I can. So my heart rate wants to drop as low as it can do, or as it can, so I can recover faster when I fall into that parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I witnessed this in my 60-minute workout by controlling my breath, from focusing my attention on my breath and my awareness. So can you imagine what this could do in your life if you have an objective, if you have a meeting, if you have a presentation, if you have a race, if you have whatever it is? If you can find the tools which we are giving you and apply them to keep yourself into this state of being, then when you call upon, because that's what this conversation is about, is peak performance. It's not about, state of awareness, it's peak performance. But in order for you to peak, the majority of the time you need to be at rest. And this is difficult for the viewers and some people to understand it, even my clients, and I tell you why. Not only do we have association with an environment, but we have an association with outcome. So if, for example, this stress state of mind and performing at this aggression level has allowed me to succeed, or for example, if a client of mine is working all day long and they are stressed and then they get rewarded with a promotion, that association with that state is that this state leads to success, okay? Which it has, but it's only when you take a step back and you try what we're talking about to control that parasympathetic state, the success will be higher. And that's the challenge that we have. That's the same challenge with what I struggle with clients to take a rest day, to take some time off. It's the same challenge that we have with corporate leaders who have an association with the outcome, that stressful push, drive, workhorse mentality has given them the success that they want. But now they're at the state where they cannot give any more. They're at the limit. Like, where do we go from here? Where you go from here is you pull yourself back down and you peak higher. And that's exactly what we're talking about, right?
Absolutely. Oh my God. So many valuable nuggets there. Yeah, absolutely. Environment defines you. So if you are not happy with who you are or where you are, change your environment, whether it's people, whether it's the place, whether it's your job environment, whatever it is, will have a tremendous impact. And yes, coming out of this hustle mentality is something incredibly important and very, very difficult for most people to understand. We really misunderstand how it just functions backwards, and we don't want to get the point that actually what we are doing is counterproductive, because working 12, 14, 18 hours a day and trading the sleep for more work, more performance, more whatever, you actually achieving the exact opposite. If you were to give yourself, and just maybe take it as a challenge and give it a try for a week or start with 3 days, that you give yourself the white space, you give yourself a break, and see how this truly amplifies the performance that you will be able to provide in a lot smaller period of time or a lot less time, you will be able to get so much more done just because you are not worn out, just because you can think clearly, you can be creative. These are all intertwined and interconnected. So I hope that you are taking away a lot of interesting tools, practices, ideas, maybe something about the mindset or how our body functions on stress response and beyond, how our environment serves us. So please share with us in the comments what is your key takeaway from today's conversation. And I'm going into wrapping it here because I know, Chris, that when we start talking, we can probably keep going for days, not just hours, for days. Our conversations are super deep and incredibly uh, interesting as well. And we have a lot to share and to spread out because we want to genuinely help you and everybody to improve and get better and just live an easier and more fulfilling life. That's really our passion and mission, which we are sharing in similar yet different areas. So please share with us what's your key takeaway and what is it that you would like to hear more about. And we promise we will be back very soon with a different conversation, with a different topic, still linking leadership and physical performance together. And Christian, I just would like to give it back to you. Please let us know, share with us any final thoughts and also where people can find you and follow you.
Yeah, great. And likewise, I look forward to jumping on one of these again and discussing. There's so many topics that we can. And, one thing I just want to make sure that I mention right here, and I don't think I would be doing my profession or my purpose justice if I didn't. I'm a very focused, driven, ambitious, energetic individual, which I have so much energy. It's unbelievable. And that energy is great, but also it can be a turmoil. And one thing that keeps me really relaxed is physical exercise. And when I start my day with pushing myself or just outletting that energy, I'm a masculine guy, I'm full of testosterone, I'm full of desire, I'm full of drive, I'm full of, we have stresses in our life. So one way I find really helps me fall into that state more easily is exercise. And anybody is watching this that doesn't have an exercise routine, I would say, if you want to improve the way in your life, even if it's your financial, has nothing to do with the way you look, start working out, because that is the first thing that you need to do. If you want this vehicle that you've been gifted with to carry you a lifetime, and you want that lifetime to go as far as you can, whether that's, like I said, performing in the office or performing, running around with your children, this vehicle needs to be exercised. Okay? You need to learn how to push that endocrine in the direction of the sympathetic and how to recover from it. And exercise is a prime example for that. So that's the first thing. Second thing, obviously, you can find me on my Instagram if you're watching this. If you have any questions regarding what we discussed right now on peak performance or on any other topic that you would like us talking about, then do send us a message. I'm not very active on LinkedIn, but I do know that a lot of my clients and a lot of my clients' network are on LinkedIn. So I am going to be bringing a lot more content to LinkedIn. And again, what I would say is, use your time wisely. Try to recover. The weekend is for recovery. Try to relax, try to focus, but try to get that exercise in. And I'm looking forward to the next. We have so much to cover. I think we touched on some key points here, and both you, Szilvia, and I agreed before we started that we wouldn't want to overwhelm our viewers. We wanted to just have a conversation and bring our intellect and our passion together to ignite that furnace so it burns higher. And yeah, if you want to see, if our viewers want to see more of this type of content, then the only way we can make it really valuable for you is to know exactly what you want. So that's where you can comment, whether that's on Instagram, on YouTube, or on LinkedIn, or you can send us a DM and you can send us what you would like to see more of. And if there's any question you have regarding this conversation, then write them in the comments and we will get back from you. Also, I do want to point out your comments are going to help this video become higher on the news feed. So more people that maybe need this message, hear this message, will see that. You know, both Szilvia and I are doing this just out of pure passion because we want to help people. We're not trying to sell anything, as we talked about, although we both do this for a living in regards to help people. And we need you as well. So your comments are valuable. Not only is that going to allow us to answer your questions, but it's going to allow the algorithm to push this post up onto the newsfeed and allow more people like you to benefit from this content. And that way, we can definitely allocate a lot more time to deliver more messages. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, and absolutely couldn't agree more with every single word you just said. On my final word, what I would like to invite you, audience, for is to just reflect for a moment of where you are right now in your life and where you desire to be. Where is the gap in between those? And what would it take for you to take the ownership, take the responsibility, and finally stand up for yourself, take control of your life, and really start going towards your goals and desires with intention, with purpose. We are here to support you, either me, Christian, anyone else. Engaging with coaches is, by the way, a very, very powerful way of support. And I'm not saying because I'm a coach, I'm saying it out of experience, being a coach, working with multiple coaches as well, because there is no human who could be able to see their own blind spots. This is why we all need coaches. So it can really be an amazing catalyst in any topic you desire, be it business, be it fitness, be it well-being, be it leadership, whatever it is. But go look for the right people who can guide you and advise you and be your catalyst on your journey. I think it is just really invaluable and very, very rewarding once you step onto the path. So from my side, you can reach me on my website, livity.coach, on Instagram, Livity Wellbeing, written in just one word, or on LinkedIn, Szilvia Vitos. Feel free to reach out, message, DM, however is more convenient for you. We are here to support and looking forward to receiving your comments, questions, and key takeaways from today's session. Thank you so much for being here with us. We really, truly enjoyed this conversation. Surely there will be more to come, so watch out for the announcements and have a wonderful remaining weekend. Enjoy your time, rest, recover, most importantly, and get ready to get to peak performance for the new week. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Take care. Bye-bye.